Every morning, Jolene visits Laura's bakery. Today, she stands before the display pondering over a cupcake, a chocolate croissant, and a gingerbread cookie. Can you tell what she's going to pick? She will most likely pick the gingerbread man cookie today. Look at her scarf adorned with gingerbread men. This tells me she must be craving a Christmas-themed treat. Laura's bakery was failing, and she was desperate for some money to save her business. She found 3 baking competitions online with a grand prize of $50,000. Look at their announcement websites. 2 of those competitions were a scam to take people's data. Can you figure out which one is legit? The website for the Golden Whisk competition is full of spelling errors, such as these ones here and here. And the contact information section is conspicuously missing, which raises some red flags. The website for the Great Bakers Challenge asks for a social security number and bank details here, which is unusual for a baking competition. The Star Baker Showdown, on the other hand, has past winners, rules, and contact information pages on the right side of their website, which makes it seem professional and legit. So she should apply for that one. Laura received a letter from the competition jury. It stated that her application was accepted to move to the second stage of the contestant selection. To successfully complete that, she needed to answer this riddle. In a baker's window, I often lie. Golden and sweet, a feast for the eye. Filled with fruit or sometimes cream. Guess my name, a pastry dream. Can you help Laura? The answer is a tart. For the third stage of the competition, the bakers who were selected were invited to the Kingdom of Frostholm. There, they needed to show their baking skills by baking a Christmas cake for the royal family who were organizing this competition. So, Laura needed to book her plane ticket. Do you know for which date she needs to book it? Remember the letter she got? There was a note on there at the very end, and it said, Competition Stage 3 date, 24th of December. Laura checked the price of the plane ticket, but it was too expensive. However, she didn't notice the thing that might help her with the purchase. Can you spot what that is? Look at the info bar right at the end of the airline's website. There's a sliding notification that says, click here to answer our riddle and get a discount. Once Laura clicked the link, this riddle appeared on her computer screen. I'm a guide without a voice that gives you the whole world in your pocket or bag. What am I? The answer is a map. Laura flew to the Kingdom of Frostholm, where she was greeted by the butler of the royal family. He took her to the palace, where the contestants would be staying, and showed her 3 different room options. Which one should she pick? Do you see the hidden camera behind the TV inside the first room? So that's a pass. As for the third room, notice how the AC is set to cold even though it's snowing outside. No to that. So she should pick the second room. The palace employees had arranged a palace tour for the contestants to get them to relax a bit before the big day. During the tour, however, Laura noticed three strange things within the palace walls. Peek inside the throne room. Can you spot what's weird here? Do you see the portraits of the royal family members here above the thrones? The eyes of this past king's portrait are moving. Ooh. What's scary here in the kitchen? Take a gander at the chandelier. It's made of kitchen knives. And lastly, can you see what's creepy here in the ballroom? Do you see that dancing ghost that appears and disappears next to the stairs? Spooky. The day before the competition, Laura and the other contestants were introduced to the past winners in case they needed some inspiration and motivation. 3 bakers presented the cakes that made them win to the contestants. Laura immediately noticed that one of them was a zombie. Can you tell who? The second baker is surrounded by flies, but that just means she's a messy person, not a zombie. How did she even win? The third baker's cheeks have green spots on them, but that's just from the icing she used while making her cake. So the first baker is the zombie. Imagine the lollipop she decorated her cake with. One of them is an eyeball. Well, it was finally the big day. All the contestants were going to bake a pie, but they were told to choose what kind. There were 3 judges, and as they introduced themselves, they told the contestants what kind of pie their favorite was. Judge 1 expressed his love for chocolate pies. Judge 2 announced berry pie was his favorite. And Judge 3 said he was fond of pecan pies. However, Laura could tell one of them was lying. Can you tell who? Do you see the chocolate stains and pie crumbles on the second judge's shirt? That can only mean he's been enjoying a slice of chocolate pie before arriving at the competition venue. So he must prefer them to berry pies, despite what he said. It was decided Laura was going to bake a chocolate pie, and she was going to use her grandmother's secret recipe. In fact, her grandmother had written 2 of the ingredients in code so no one could steal her recipe. Let's look at them. Can you tell what these are? Just shift back each letter of the nonsense words by 1 in the alphabet and you'll get the answer. So the first word decodes to sugar, and the second word decodes to cacao. The moment everyone had been waiting for was here. They were going to announce the winner. It was Laura. However, before she could claim her prize, the head judge presented her with one last challenge, a riddle to truly prove her baking wisdom. In the kitchen, I'm a king. Without me, baking's nothing. I can rise but never fall. And without my presence, your cake's too small. What am I? Can you help Laura win the grand prize? The correct answer is yeast. Now, before Laura flew back home, she wanted to explore the Christmas market of the kingdom. As she was waiting in line to get hot chocolate, a guy came up to her and congratulated her on her win. She could immediately tell who he was. Can you? He's the prince of the kingdom of Frostholm. Let's rewind a bit to when Laura was taking a tour of the palace. The prince's portrait is here among the royal family members' portraits, so she remembers him from there. The prince said he ate a slice of Laura's chocolate pie and loved it so much he was reminded of his childhood holidays. In return, he wanted Laura to take something from the market as his thank you gift and something to remind Laura of her days here. Laura decided to pick a snow globe from the souvenir stall. Look at these 3 snow globes. Which one should you pick? Do you see that the first snow globe is cracked at the back and slowly leaking liquid? That wouldn't stand the journey back. And the ballerina inside the second snow globe is blinking. Must be some kind of a haunted item. So she should pick the third snow globe. At the airport departure gate, Laura was stopped by security because the scanner bleeped every time she passed it. What could be causing that? It's because of the necklace chain that is dangling from the pocket of her jacket. But she didn't have anything like that. When she checked it to figure out who it belonged to, she noticed that the heart-shaped pendant had a message from the prince to her inside it. Hope to see you again. Aww. Alrighty, here's the new portion of mind-bending riddles for you, quick-witted detective. Find that magnifying glass of yours, and let's get to work.
Yeah.
Tom disappeared at 10 p.m. on Friday in the fall. A police officer questioned his 4 friends. She suspected one of them had something to do with this disappearance. She asked them all what they had been doing at the time. Adam said he had been choosing an outfit for a date. Daniel was getting ready for a party, which was to take place at his apartment. Sophia said she had been relaxing by doing yoga before her night shift at work. And Jake was watching birds in the park. After questioning the suspects, the police officer arrested one of Tom's friends. Who was it? It was Jake. At 10 p.m. in the fall, it's too dark to see birds outside. Imagine being stuck in Antarctica. You're starting to run out of food, so you decide to scan your surroundings. The snow is so bright, it's literally blinding. At one point, you come across a large fragment of bone with a wide crack enough to fit a knife. You think the bone might come in handy later and take it with you. What's the best way to use it? Crack it and use it as your second knife? Make an eyewear mask? Make a flute to distract yourself from this dire situation? You should choose the second option. An eyewear mask can protect you from a big problem: snow blindness. Sunlight is reflected off the snow and ice in Antarctica and is likely to cause serious eye problems. Okay, this time you're trapped in a large abandoned castle. The lights are out, and there seems to be nobody around. You see 3 doors leading out of the creepy castle to safety. But behind the first door, there's a room filled with venomous snakes and spiders. Behind the second door, there's a sheer drop with sharp spikes at the bottom. And the third door opens to an electrified moat. Which door will you risk going through? Surprisingly, the safest option is the third door. You see, the castle is abandoned, and since nobody has lived there for years, there isn't likely to be electricity. The likelihood of the moat still being electrified is very, very small. You'll be able to swim across the moat safely. Let's say that in some mysterious way, you find yourself in a battle arena. 3 creatures are waiting for you, and you need to fight one of them to survive. The first monster has the head of a rattlesnake and the body of a giant ferret. The second one has the body of a gorilla and the head of an alligator. And the third creature has the face and body of a great white shark and the tail and claws of a bear. So, which monster would you choose? The first 2 monsters would be extremely dangerous opponents. Imagine how agile and venomous the snake ferret could be. And the gorilla gator would be too strong for you to defeat. As for the shark bear, you know that sharks have gills and can't breathe on land. So you just need to wait a bit, and this opponent would get out of your way on its own. Imagine a robber is trying to enter your house. You can only defend yourself through the letterbox in your door while they're trying to sneak a peek inside your house. What kind of defense would you choose? A tarantula and a 4-foot-long stick? A 3-foot-long bamboo pole and some frozen peas? Or a leaf blower, elastic band, empty paper roll, and several dozen fire ants? The problem with the stick is that it's too short, and there's a chance that the tarantula will get back to you. Uh-oh. Sending frozen peas into the robber's face probably won't be enough to stop the criminal. So, pick the third option. The leaf blower will send the ants into the thief's face through the paper roll, and it will most likely scare the criminal away. How about this mystery? A girl was 10 on her last birthday, but she will be 12 on her next birthday. How is it possible? Well, the girl is celebrating her 11th birthday today. At school, in one of the classes, there were 4 pairs of twins. One day, all the students came to a school event with their parents, and it turned out that there were 85 people in total. Can you figure out how many students there are in the class? Since each pair of twins most likely have different parents, 4 pairs of twins and their parents make up 16 people. The remaining 69 people are ordinary students and their parents. Each of the non-twin students has 2 parents, so the number of non-twin students is 23. So in total, there are 31 students in the class. Stephen called the police to report his valuables were missing. When the police arrived, the man told him his story. "I went on a camping trip alone. I just got there and set up my tent when it started to rain heavily. I hurried to find some dry firewood. I left my bag with my wallet and all the documents inside the tent. When I came back, everything was gone." The police officers didn't believe Stephen and fined him for making a false call. How did they understand the man was lying? Stephen said he had set up the tent before it started to rain. But then, why is there a big puddle inside? Two friends, Anne and Mary, went for a walk. Suddenly, it started to rain heavily. The girls saw a seemingly abandoned house and decided to take shelter there. When it stopped raining, the friends realized they were very hungry. So they went different ways to find some food. Anne saw an apple tree and immediately ate an apple. All of a sudden, she turned into a tree herself. Half an hour later, Mary got to the same spot, searching for fruit and her friend. That's when she heard someone say, "Your friend has been turned into a tree. You must find this tree to bring her back. You only have one chance. If you get it wrong, your friend will remain a tree forever." Mary was terrified. Can you help her find out which tree is her friend? To crack this riddle, you need to think outside the box. Since it rained half an hour ago, all the trees in the forest are wet. The only tree that isn't wet is Mary's friend Anne. Now, you need to figure out the logic in the order of the following words: fun, blue, bee, more, dive, pix, barren, date, shrine, then. Actually, it's not hard at all as soon as you say these words out loud one by one. You'll immediately notice that every word rhymes with the number that specifies its numerical order. Fun 1, blue 2, bee 3, and so on. On a beautiful sunny morning, a vampire woke up pretty early and went to the bathroom to shave. He was in the middle of the process when he noticed in the mirror that he had cut himself. He had to go and look for his first aid kit. What's wrong with this story? Well, the main problem is that vampires don't reflect in mirrors. Look at this picture closely. Can you guess who this cute puppy belongs to? A little hint. Pay attention to all the details. You never know what can help you. The dog's owner is the boy in the middle. He's the only one who isn't trying to pet the puppy. And now, can you figure out what's wrong in this picture? Once again, pay attention to the tiniest details. Tick-tock, your time is running out. The wrong detail in this picture is this colorful parrot. How did the bird get there? Parrots aren't known for their love of winter.
Neil was one of the best watchmakers in town. He got a call from the police station one day, asking him for help to solve a crime. 2 burglars were caught robbing shops in town. Amongst the things they stole, there were 2 watches. One of the burglars claimed that the watch they stole was a fake, so the police contacted Neil to see if that was really true. Take a look at both watches. Can you help Neil figure out which one is fake and which one is real? The watch on the left is a fake. If you look closely, you'll see that the miniature arm is too long, so it can't pass around the entire clock when it moves. Maya was an undercover police officer. On a Saturday night, she was off duty and decided to go to the movies. When she arrived, she saw 2 women who looked pretty suspicious. She remembered that the police were tracking down a girl who had escaped from prison the week before. Take a look at both women. Can you tell if one has escaped prison recently? It's the lady on the left. Her prison uniform is peeking through her coat. I mean, she should have at least changed clothes by now, right? Beth arrived at school and one of her best friends showed her a picture. She told Beth that if she got the answer correctly, she would get a week's supply of free chocolate. The friend said that one of the people in the picture wasn't human. Can you help Beth figure out the answer? It's the boy in the middle. He doesn't have a shadow, which means he's definitely not human. Ruby was traveling around India when she decided to stop for some tea. As soon as she walked inside the tea shop, the owner placed 2 teapots in front of her. He told her she would get a free cup of tea if she could figure out his riddle. He told her that the first teapot contained enough tea for 40 cups and asked to figure out, just by looking at the pot, how many cups of tea it could carry inside. Take a look at the image. Can you help Ruby figure out the answer? This is a tricky one. Probably the second teapot can only carry around 20 cups of tea. If you look closely, you'll see that the outlets of the first teapot is located in the middle of the pot. But the outlet of the second pot is located right at the bottom, so even if the pot is taller, it can't hold more water than the first one. After water hits the level of the outlet, it'll just start overflowing. Mary was walking in an enchanted forest when she met Randy, a magical unicorn. Mary asked the unicorn for some information, but he refused to talk to her unless she solved one of his riddles. He was a trickster and liked confusing people with his riddles. He told Mary that in a nearby field there were tigers and sheep. Usually one tiger could catch 3 sheep in 3 minutes. So he asked her how long it would take for 100 tigers to catch 100 sheep. Can you help Mary figure out the answer? It would still take 3 minutes because each tiger is still catching 1 sheep in 3 minutes. It doesn't matter if it's 3 tigers or 100. The unicorn was surprised by Mary's abilities and gave her another riddle to solve. He asked her to name the 5 days of the week without saying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. She also couldn't say whether it was the first day of the week or the last. What do you think Mary answered here? She said the day before yesterday, yesterday, today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow. Clever girl, huh? Brianna was traveling on business, and her company put her in one of the best hotels in town. She arrived from work late at night, exhausted. She was getting ready to go to bed when she heard a knock on the door. When she looked through the peephole, she saw a man standing outside. The man said he was sorry for bothering her, but the hotel database had crashed and he needed to recheck some of her information. Brianna said she would be back in a moment, got away from the door, and called security. She said there was someone in the hotel trying to rob her. Take a look at the image. How did she know the man was a robber? Look at the man's name tag. It's a female name. He is surely not the real hotel manager. Luca decided to throw a party for his best friends. He invited over 20 people to the party, but he only bought 9 candies. He told his friends he would leave the candies inside a pretty little box, and they could each get 1 candy. 9 people took 9 candies, but 1 candy was still in the box. How could that be possible? It's pretty simple. The last person took the candy and the box. This way, 1 candy remained in the box. Noah reported to the police that someone had stolen his red motorbike the previous night, right out of his garage. The police started to search for it and tracked 3 main suspects. Take a look at them. Which one stole Noah's motorbike? It's this guy on the right. Look closely. His motorbike is painted, but the paint is dripping and one can spot the old red color. He must have stolen it and painted it in a different color so as not to attract any attention. But you caught him. It's the finale of the Big Money Buzz Show, and Natalie is faced with a difficult task. There are 3 fish bowls, each one of them containing a different amount of gold bars inside. If she manages to put her hand inside one of the bowls and take it out, she can keep the gold bar. The first bowl has scalding hot water inside of it. The second is filled with flesh-burning acid. And the last bowl has a couple of venomous scorpions walking around. Which bowl should she choose? Natalie should just wait until the water cools down and grab the gold bar from the first bowl. Smart, huh? Bobby was blindfolded and put into a shaky van. When he woke up, he was alone in a dark, empty room. There was nobody there, but there were 3 envelopes on the floor. A post-it on top of the envelope said, "Each envelope contains a red capsule and 2 statements. In one of these envelopes, both statements are false. In another envelope, both statements are true. You have to choose the correct capsule to get out of this alive." He opened the first envelope, saw a capsule and the message, 1. Don't eat this candy. 2. Take the candy from the second envelope. On the second envelope, the note said, 1. Don't take the candy from the first envelope. 2. Take the candy from the third envelope. And the last envelope said, 1. Don't eat this candy. 2. Take the candy from the first envelope. Which capsule should Bobby take? He should trust the candy from the third envelope. Let's see why. The first message of the first envelope is true, while the second is false. Both messages from the second envelope are true. This leaves us with 2 false statements on the third envelope. The manager of a gift shop got a call from the police station. The police told him there was a burglar on the loose. He dressed up as the Joker and was robbing local shops. But since it was Halloween, a lot of people were walking dressed up as the Joker. At that moment, 4 Jokers entered the shop. The manager got suspicious, so he made the people stand in a line while he examined which one of them was the criminal. Take a look at the image. Can you guess which Joker is the real thief? The thief is the second Joker on the left. Take a look at his shoes. They're much bigger than the other shoes. He must be hiding something inside of it.
Now, Carol was invited to a Halloween party in an abandoned house. Her friends asked if she was up for a challenge, and she said yes. Soon enough, she was locked inside a room. In this room, there was 1 door and 3 light switches next to it. Behind the door was an empty closet with nothing but a light bulb. Her task was to figure out which switch controls the light bulb inside the closet. She could flip the switches in whatever way she wanted, but once she opened the door, she couldn't touch the switches anymore. After some minutes of thinking, she was able to get it right. How did Carol do it? Okay, let's go step by step. She flipped switch number 1 and then waited a few minutes. She flipped it back to off and then immediately flipped switch number 2. Then she opened the door and checked the light. The bulb was off, so she discovered that it wasn't switch number 2 that controlled the light. So she decided to touch the bulb to test if it was hot or cold. If the bulb had been cold, that would have meant that switch number 3 controlled it. But the bulb was hot. So that meant that switch number 1 controlled 1. Way to go, Carol! To get back to the party, Carol had to solve another riddle. There were 2 hourglasses in front of her. One hourglass measures 7 minutes, and the other one measures 4 minutes. She needed to time 9 minutes using both hourglasses. How could she do it? First, she turned both hourglasses at the same time. By the time the 4-minute glass finished, there were still 3 minutes left on the other one. She flipped the 4-minute glass again. When the 7-minute glass was empty, there was 1 minute left on the other glass. And once the 4-minute glass emptied again, there was 1 minute's worth of sand at the bottom half of the 7-minute timer. She flipped it over again, so there was 1 minute worth of sand on the top of the glass. And when the 7-minute timer finally emptied again, 9 minutes elapsed in total. Now look at this party scene. Everyone is dancing in their Halloween costumes and having an enjoyable time. You've been told that one of these people is a real vampire. Can you figure out who it is? Let's see. The guy on the left is drinking something red, but he has a shadow, so he can't be a real vampire. The second lady looks creepy, could be her, but if you look closely at the mirror on the wall, you'll see her reflection, so it can't be her. And we can also see the reflection of the fourth guy in the mirror. This only leaves one lady left. She must be the real vampire. Anna sat down to watch her favorite TV show. She made some popcorn, turned on the TV, and nestled comfortably to binge-watch an entire season. Her cat Pepper sat down next to her, but after 5 minutes of screen time, Anna suddenly passed out. Look at the image. Can you guess what happened there? Anna's cat Pepper got scared with a loud thump that came from the TV. It jumped on top of Anna and it scared the life out of her. That's why she passed out. Brendan was camping alone in a remote location. He left his campsite and hiked 3 miles south. Then he turned east and hiked for another 3 miles. After that, he turned north and hiked for another 3 miles. After walking 9 miles, he was back to the exact same point from where he had left off. Plus, he got there just in time to find a bear trying to open his tent and steal his food. Look at the image. Can you guess the only place in the world where Brendan could be right now? It's the North Pole. That's the only place where you can hike for 3 miles south, east, and north and end up exactly where you left off. Fraser bought a cozy home in Vancouver. On a sunny day, he decided to take his dog out for a walk. When he let his dog off the leash, it ran extremely far away from him. At some point, the dog was opposite him across a huge lake. Fraser called his dog, who managed to cross safely to the other side of the lake without getting wet or using a boat. Can you guess how the dog managed to do it? Well, that's a trick question, but the dog could easily cross the lake since it was frozen. Your best friend invited you for brunch at a place called Wally's World. As soon as you arrive there, the hostess tells you that you need to solve a riddle to get inside. She tells us that there is only one rule at Wally's World. Over there is pizza with cheese, but no pizza with sausage. There is pepper, but no salt. There is a door, yet no entrance or exit. With this information, can you guess what the law is? Everything in Wally's World must contain double letters. So things such as pizza, pepper, and cheese are allowed inside. Whew! That sure wasn't obvious, huh? On a snowy winter afternoon, Dr. Brown was resting in front of the fireplace. Suddenly, somebody threw a snowball at his window. The hit was so strong that the glass shattered. Dr. Brown stood up just in time to see 3 neighborhood boys running away. They were brothers with the names John Smith, Mark Smith, and Dave Smith. The next day, a paper note was left on Dr. Brown's door. There it was written, a question mark, then Smith. He threw the snowball. Dr. Brown knew immediately which brother had done it. Can you figure it out too? It was Mark. You see, the note said, "Question Mark Smith." He threw the snowball. But the boys were clever and put a question mark instead to test Dr. Brown's detective abilities. Henry was backpacking through Brazil by himself. One evening at around 8 p.m., he got very hungry and decided to look for a cozy restaurant to have some dinner. He walked into a traditional restaurant only to find a customer and a waiter arguing over something. The customer said that he had ordered clam soup, while the waiter was saying he had only ordered a cup of tea. Henry saw something that immediately showed him who was lying. Can you find out too? The customer is lying. Behind him, there's a huge sign that says the restaurant only serves soup from 1 to 4 p.m. Since it was 8 p.m. in the evening, the waiter would have never accepted the customer's order in the first place. Cheryl ran into her house extremely worried. "I set off as soon as I heard the news," she told the police officer. "I was at my parents' house in another town. What's happened to my husband?" "Well," the police said, "somebody hurt Mr. Moffat, and he ended up in the hospital. He's going to be okay, but we still need to find out who did this to him." The police officer has questioned 3 suspects so far. Mr. Moffat's secretary said, "I was sent to visit Mr. Moffat's business partner in the morning. Some important documents needed signatures." The cook said, "I haven't left the kitchen today. Mr. Moffat wanted me to prepare a meal for him and his wife." The housekeeper said, "I didn't hear anything today. I was doing some household chores all day long. After that, I was so tired, I decided to take a nap." The police officer realized who the culprit was in no time. Can you figure out who did it? It was the cook. Mr. Moffat didn't ask him to cook anything for his wife, since she had been out of town all along.
Matt buys a new house. In the basement, he discovers 3 signed boxes and a note. It says that one of the boxes contains $1 million. The 2 other boxes are empty, according to the note. Only one of the 3 messages written on the boxes is true. On the first box, it said that the cash is not there. The second box has a similar message: the cash is not here. And the third box says that the cash is in the second box. If you were Matt, which bag would you choose? Matt should choose the first bag, as we know only one of the clues is true. So the money should be in the first bag. Matt walks out of his house and goes to the garden. He pulls out his right hand. Suddenly, a bee lands on it. What's in Matt's eye? Beauty. Why? Because beauty is in the eye of the bee holder. In the garden, Matt takes 2 pictures. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. Matt returns home and figures out that someone has broken into his house, and the thief has just left. How did Matt figure this out? Someone turned on his electric stove and put a plastic bag on top. The plastic is only half melted, so the thief must have left a few seconds ago. Matt goes to his favorite vegan restaurant as usual on Fridays. He orders a slice of pizza, puts it on a table, and leaves for a couple of minutes to wash his hands. Then Matt comes back and finds out that his pizza is gone. He interrogates 3 customers nearby. Harold says, "I'm not hungry, so I didn't even look at your food. I came here for the sake of coffee. Bella says, I was having a video call with my boyfriend. He lives in another country, so we go on virtual dates every Sunday. Distance is so exhausting. And Anna says, I was taking pictures of my food, so I didn't look around. You can check them out if you don't believe me. After hearing about what they had to say, Matt knows for sure who's a liar. What about you? According to Bella, she goes on virtual dates every Sunday. But it's Friday. Liar! Matt's girlfriend Erica is visiting him in his lab. Suddenly, she faces two identical Matts. Can you help her figure out who's a clone? The guy on the right has a scar on his arm. Meanwhile, the clone doesn't have any because his skin is brand new. Matt goes to the mall and buys a bat and a ball for $1.10 in total. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Nope, the correct answer is not 10 cents. It's actually a little less. A ball costs 5 cents and the bat $1.05. And together they total $1.10. Someone robbed Matt's lab. The thief stole the cloning device and he's going to hand it over tonight. This is a great opportunity to catch the criminal. The police figure out the approximate place where to look for the device. They decide to question several people nearby. Greg says, the garbage truck has just emptied the overhead trash cans. Jeff says, I'm in charge of these trash cans. I checked all the cans next to the yellow ones and found nothing interesting. And Bill just points at all the trash cans that someone approached today. Can you help the police find the trash can with the stolen device? First of all, we need to calculate the top cans. And now let's check all the remaining trash cans which people were approaching. The next step is to remove those next to the yellow ones. And here it is, the trash can we've been looking for. After the robbery, Matt decides to lock his lab door with a password. There are 4 buttons with different images: orange, banana, apple, and tomato. Can you guess which button opens the door? The odd one out is the tomato because all the others are fruits, so it should open the door. A priceless crystal disappeared from the local science museum. The thief left no trace behind. After analyzing the museum's security cameras, Matt invites 3 suspects for an interrogation. The security guard says, I only left my post once during lunchtime. I can swear that the crystal was still there when I came back. The museum curator says, I spent the day guiding a tour of foreign scientists. They came to see the crystal at the beginning of the tour. It was still shining bright in its place. One of the visitors says, I only popped in for a quick visit. I didn't even pass through the room where the crystal was kept. After hearing their stories, Matt knows for sure who the thief is. What about you? It was the visitor. He hid the crystal in his sleeve. Matt's brother Greg arrives at his house to eat together. He yells, Matt, the microwave is on, and it's already defrosting our dinner. Greg hears Matt's reply from the bathroom. Could you please check the microwave and let me know how much time is left? Greg grabs his phone and calls the police. He reports a dangerous situation involving his brother. How did he know? Greg is blind, so his brother would have asked him to look at the microwave because Matt knows that Greg can't see. This made Greg suspicious, and that's why he called the police. The next day, Matt wakes up in a secret abandoned lab. He wanders around and finds 3 doors leading to freedom, but each door is hiding an unpleasant surprise. Here's a creepy monster sitting in a cage behind the first door. It's very hungry and angry. There's a bunch of venomous snakes crawling behind the second door, and the lights are off, so Matt won't be able to see them. And behind the door, there's a huge fire. Which way is more or less safe? He should choose the first door. The monster is in a cage, so Matt can just pass by and escape. Matt manages to escape and enters the nearest gas station. He spots 3 odd things about this place right away. Can you see them too? The poster with the engine oil advertisement offers a 0% discount. The cashier has an octopus tentacle instead of hands. See this package of chips? It says they have the flavor of spiders. That's weird. The cashier agrees to help Matt get home if he manages to solve his riddle.
I came first on Earth, but second in heaven. I also come twice a week, but I'm found just once a year. I stay away for months, but you can find me in February. What am I?
The correct answer is the letter E. Matt returns home and finds out that someone has left homemade cookies on the kitchen table. He examines all the doors and windows. He finds no signs of a break-in. Matt decides to question 3 suspects who have a key. His mother says, "I spent all day with my yoga teacher, and my class ended 10 minutes ago, so I didn't have time for cookies." The plumber says, "I fixed the kitchen sink in the morning and left for home. Why would I bring you any gifts?" And Matt's girlfriend Erica says, "I visited your house a couple of hours ago to drop off some shopping bags and left for the gym. I didn't see any cookies." Who's lying? The plumber. Take a closer look at the kitchen sink. It has no tap. Therefore, he lied. Matt is walking in the local restaurant and gets lost in a maze. He has only 15 seconds to get out before it starts raining. Can you help him find the right direction? Ready to see the answer? Here's the correct route.